Why your brain is wired to lose money in Forex, and the one rewiring that fixes it. Let me say something that might make you uncomfortable. The reason you're losing in Forex, or struggling to stay consistent, is not because you haven't found the right strategy yet. It's not because the market is rigged against you. It's not because you lack discipline. It's not even because you're using the wrong indicator. The real reason? Your brain, the same brain that helped your ancestors survive lions, droughts, and famine, is completely, fundamentally, neurologically unfit for trading financial markets. And nobody is talking about this honestly. Every Forex course you've ever bought promises you a system, a method, a setup. 15 pips here, stop loss there, risk-reward ratio, trend line, Fibonacci, the whole ritual. And yet, here you are, still watching videos, still searching, still bleeding. Here's what nobody tells you. More strategy isn't the answer. More knowledge isn't the answer. Not yet, because you are bringing a Stone Age brain into a 21st century trading arena. And until you understand how that brain is wired and deliberately rewire the one pattern that destroys traders, no strategy on earth will save you. So today, I'm not going to give you a new indicator. I'm going to show you something that will change how you see yourself as a trader and maybe as a person. Stay with me. This one is worth your full attention. Here's the common belief. I just need the right strategy and everything will click. You've believed this. Most traders believe this. It's why the Forex education industry is worth billions. Every new course, every new mentor, every new secret system promises to be the final piece of the puzzle. But here's the truth that will sting a little. Most traders who blow accounts don't lack knowledge. They have charts on 3 monitors, they've read trading books, they've watched hundreds of hours of content. They know what a moving average does, what support and resistance means, what a liquidity grab looks like. And they still lose. Because the problem was never information. The problem is execution under pressure. And execution under pressure is a psychological event, not a technical one. Trading, at its core, is a game of decision-making inside uncertainty. And the human brain, your brain, was never designed for that kind of game. It was designed for certainty, for safety, for survival, for tribal acceptance, for instant rewards. And the market? The market is the exact opposite of all of that. The market is uncertain, uncomfortable, solitary, slow rewarding, and completely indifferent to your feelings. This is where 90% of traders lose, not on the charts, in their own minds. The rewiring. Realization 1. Your brain is running a survival program, not a profit program. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Deep inside your brain, there is a structure called the amygdala. It is roughly the size of an almond, and it is ancient. It evolved millions of years before you were born, specifically to detect threats and keep you alive. When you were a child, this system protected you from real danger. When you step into traffic, it fires. When someone raises their voice at you, it fires. It is a warning system, a smoke alarm for your nervous system. But here's the problem. When you sit down at your trading platform and your position starts moving against you, your amygdala doesn't know the difference between losing $50 on a trade and being chased by a predator in the wild. It fires the exact same alarm. Fight, flight, freeze. In fight mode, you add to a losing position because your brain refuses to accept defeat. In flight mode, you close a winning trade too early because your brain says, get out while you can. In freeze mode, you sit there and watch a trade destroy your account because your brain is paralyzed by conflicting signals. This is not weakness, this is biology. The market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Warren Buffett. Read that again. Not from the unskilled to the skilled, from the impatient to the patient. Because patience under pressure is not natural. It must be built. It must be trained like a muscle that has never been used. Ask yourself right now, and be honest with yourself. When you're in a losing trade, what do you feel? Not what you think you should do. What do you feel? If the answer involves your chest tightening, your hands hovering over the keyboard, or your mind spinning through 100 justifications, your amygdala is in charge of your account, not you. And the market is ruthless with amygdala-driven traders. Realization 3. Loss aversion. The invisible hand that steers every bad decision. In 1979, two psychologists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, published a paper that would eventually win the Nobel Prize in economics. Their finding was simple and devastating. Losses feel approximately twice as powerful as equivalent gains. Meaning, losing $100 creates roughly twice as much emotional pain as winning $100 creates pleasure. Think about what this means for trading. You enter a trade. It moves in your favor. You feel good, but cautiously. You think, maybe I should take some profit. The trade continues to move in your favor. You feel nervous. The fear of giving back your gains begins to grow louder than the excitement of further profits. So you close early, too early. You book a 30-pip gain when your target was 90 pips. Then the market continues to move another 100 pips in your direction without you. You stare at the screen with a particular kind of emotional torture reserved specifically for traders. Now flip it. You enter a trade. It immediately moves against you. Every rational rule says, close the trade, accept the small loss, protect your capital. But loss aversion says, don't close it. It might come back. You haven't really lost yet. And so you hold and hold and hold, watching a 20-pip loss become 50, then 100, then a margin call. This is loss aversion. This is not stupidity. This is neuroscience. It's not whether you're right or wrong, but how much money you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. The asymmetry Soros is describing is not a trading strategy. It's a psychological stance toward loss, a willingness, a trained willingness to accept small losses quickly and hold winning trades with patience. This is the opposite of what your brain wants to do. Your brain wants to hold losers because closing them makes the loss real, and your brain desperately avoids the pain of reality. And your brain wants to close winners early because certainty feels safer than uncertainty, even when uncertainty holds more profit. Old behavior: hold the loser because hope is cheaper than pain. Close the winner because the relief of locking in gain feels better than the anxiety of waiting. New behavior: define your maximum loss before you enter. Write it down. Accept it before the trade begins. Make it not a possibility, make it a decision, and your stop loss becomes not a failure, but a consequence you already agreed to. This is the psychological sleight of hand that separates consistently profitable traders from everyone else. They have pre-decided the loss. They have already grieved it, and so when it hits, there is no emotional event, just a click. Move on. Imagine becoming someone who closes a losing trade with the same emotional temperature as deleting a spam email. That level of neutrality, that's not coldness, that's mastery. Realization 4. The identity trap. Why trying to be a better trader will never work. Here's the most confronting thing I'll say in this entire video. You cannot think your way into consistency. You cannot read your way into it. You cannot watch enough YouTube videos to arrive at it. You have to become it. And there is a profound difference between those two things. Most struggling traders approach Forex like a skill to acquire. If I learn enough, I'll eventually get it right. But trading consistency is not a skill. It is an identity. It is a way of being. It is a set of values about discipline, about patience, about accepting uncertainty that live in your bones, not in your notebook. Here's what I mean. A person who is trying to be disciplined will follow their rules when it's easy, when the market is clear, when the setup is obvious, when everything lines up beautifully. But a person whose identity is discipline follows their rules especially when it's hard, when the market is messy, when they're tired, when they haven't won in 2 weeks and doubt is screaming in their chest. The rules aren't something they're trying to follow. The rules are an expression of who they are. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. James Clear. Think about that sentence. Every time you deviate from your trading plan, you cast a vote for a person who doesn't follow their plan. Every time you honor your rules under pressure, you cast a vote for a person who does do. Identity is not declared, it is accumulated, one small decision at a time. The trader stuck in the old pattern says, "I need to be more disciplined." They mean it, they feel it. But nothing changes because they're trying to manage behavior from the outside in. They're patching symptoms, not treating the root. The rewired trader asks a different question, not "how do I trade better," but "who do I need to become?" This shift is quiet. It doesn't come with fanfare, but it changes everything. Let me tell you about a trader I'll call David. David found Forex the same way most people do, late at night watching a YouTube video of someone showing screenshots of enormous profits. Something clicked in him, the possibility, the freedom, the idea of becoming someone who could generate income from anywhere in the world on his own terms. He signed up for a course, learned about candlestick patterns, support and resistance, moving averages. He opened a demo account and started practicing. He was profitable on demo within 3 weeks. He felt confident, maybe even a little euphoric. So he opened a live account, and everything changed. Trades that he would have managed perfectly on demo became nightmarish in real money. He'd move his stop loss because it felt like the market was about to turn. He'd close winning trades the moment they showed a small retracement, terrified of giving back profit. He'd sit in losing positions for hours, talking himself into hope, watching 50 pip losses become 200 pip disasters. In 4 months, he blew 3 accounts. He thought, "I need a better strategy." He bought 2 more courses, different systems, different indicators, different rules. He blew 2 more accounts. He thought, "I must be stupid." He almost quit. He sat with that feeling for a long time, and then, somewhere in the silence of almost quitting, he asked a different question. What if it's not the strategy? What if it's me? Not as self-punishment, as honest curiosity. He started reading, not more trading books, psychology books. He read about behavioral economics, about loss aversion, about the amygdala, about identity and habit formation. He started journaling every trade, not the technical details, but the emotional ones. What did I feel before I entered? What happened inside me when price moved against me? Why did I move that stop? He started seeing patterns, not on the chart, in himself. He realized he moved stops because the idea of being wrong was intolerable to him. He'd grown up in an environment where making mistakes was met with ridicule, and his unconscious mind had wired being wrong to not being good enough. So when a trade went against him, it wasn't just a trade, it was, in his nervous system, a referendum on his worth. He started working on that, not the trading, that. He practiced closing losing trades, small ones first, on demo, then live. He'd set his stop, and when price hit it, he'd close the trade, breathe slowly, and say out loud, "That was the cost of doing business today." Like a chef who burns a dish and puts it aside without drama. He rewired the emotional response to loss, one trade at a time, one vote at a time. 6 months later, David wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't even full-time trading, but he had something more valuable: 3 consecutive profitable months. Modest returns, but consistent. He hadn't found a better strategy. He'd found a better version of himself. And that version didn't need hope to survive in the market. It only needed process. Realization 5. The one rewiring that changes everything. I've been building to this point, and here it is. The one rewiring that changes everything is this. You must shift your emotional investment from outcomes to process. Read that slowly. Let it sit. Right now, your brain measures success in trading by one thing. Did this trade make money or did it lose money? That is an outcome-based identity, and it will destroy you. Because outcomes in trading, especially in the short term, are largely random. Even a perfect trade, perfectly analyzed, perfectly executed, perfectly managed, can lose. The market doesn't care how right your analysis was. It goes where it goes. A trader who measures themselves by outcomes will feel like a genius when they win and a failure when they lose. Their confidence will be a hostage to the last few trades. They'll be elated on Tuesday, devastated by Thursday, and making irrational decisions by Friday, all because they've handed the steering wheel of their self-perception to a random variable. That is an unsustainable psychological existence. The rewiring? You measure success not by whether the trade won or lost, but by whether you followed your process. Did you wait for your setup? Did you enter at your planned level? Did you set your stop loss and not move it? Did you honor your target? Did you manage your position size correctly? If yes, it was a good trade, even if it lost. If no, it was a bad trade, even if it won. If you focus on results, you will never change. If you focus on change, you will get results. In Jack Dixon. This is the most counterintuitive truth in all of trading. The goal is not to make money. The goal is to become the kind of trader whose process, repeated consistently over hundreds of trades, produces money as a byproduct. The money is not the target. The money is the evidence that you have become the right kind of person. Old identity, I trade to make money. New identity, I trade to execute my process flawlessly. The money follows. When you genuinely make this shift, and it takes time, so be patient with yourself, something remarkable happens. Losing trades lose their sting because they weren't failures of judgment. They were simply the statistical cost of having an edge that works over 100 trades, not every single trade. Winning trades lose their arrogance because you know a win isn't proof you're brilliant. It's proof the process worked this time. Keep executing. And slowly, silently, over months, the account grows. Not because the market became easier, because you became more consistent. Engagement moment. I want you to pause for a second. Think about the last trade you took that you're not proud of. Not the one that lost. Loss is fine. The one where you knew you were breaking your rules, where something inside you said, "Don't do this," and you did it anyway. What were you feeling in that moment? Write it in the comments. Just one word if you want. Fear, greed, impatience, desperation, boredom. I read every single comment, and I want you to see, when you scroll through the responses, how many other traders felt the exact same thing in that exact same moment. Because this is not your personal failure. This is the universal human experience of an undeveloped trading psychology, and awareness is the first step out. Realization 6. The trader you are becoming. Here's something important. You watching this video, you searching for this kind of content, the deeper content, the psychological content, not just another strategy, that tells me something about you. You're not looking for a shortcut anymore, or at least part of you isn't. Part of you already suspects that the shortcut is the long way around, that the real path is slower, quieter, less glamorous, but more real. That part of you is right. The trader you are becoming is not the one you see in the highlight reel screenshots on social media. He doesn't have flashy screenshots. She doesn't post her trades. They don't need the validation because they have something better, the quiet, steady confidence of someone who knows they have an edge, who knows they can execute, who knows time is on their side. They wake up in the morning without urgency. They review the charts without emotion. They wait, sometimes for days, for the exact configuration their system demands. And when it comes, they execute without hesitation. And when it doesn't come, they close the laptop without frustration. That is the life on the other side of this rewiring. It is not dramatic. It is not exciting. It is deeply, profoundly free. In trading, you don't get rewarded for activity. You get rewarded for being right at the right time. Imagine becoming someone who enjoys the waiting, who finds peace in the stillness between setups, whose favorite trading day is the day they chose not to trade because there was nothing worth trading. That discipline, that identity is available to you. It is not reserved for some rare breed of human. It is a construction project, and every day you choose process over impulse, you lay another brick. A direct word to you. Let me be honest with you for a moment. The reason most traders never make this shift is not because it's too hard. It's because it requires something most people are deeply reluctant to do. It requires you to admit that the problem isn't out there, it's in here. That is uncomfortable. The market being rigged is a comfortable story. The broker manipulating your trades is a comfortable story. The strategy not working is a comfortable story. Because all of those stories leave you intact, unchanged, blameless. But they also leave you stuck. The trader who accepts responsibility, who looks inward with honesty and without self-punishment, is the trader who can actually change. Because you cannot fix what you refuse to see. This is not about blame, it's about power. When you accept that your results are primarily a product of your psychology, you take back control. You stop being a victim of the market and start being a student of yourself. And that shift, that moment of honest self-ownership, is the beginning of everything. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Your trading results are not fate. They are the visible output of invisible psychological programming, and that programming can be rewritten. One trade at a time, one decision at a time, one vote, as James Clear says, at a time. You're closer than you think. I know it doesn't feel that way. I know the blown accounts and the bad months and the doubt have left their marks. I know what it costs emotionally, financially, to be in this struggle. It's real, it's heavy, and I'm not going to minimize that. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Every trader who ever became consistently profitable went through exactly what you're going through. Not a version of it, the exact same experience, the same sleepless nights, the same second guessing, the same creeping thought, maybe this isn't for me. And then, not in a dramatic moment, but slowly, incrementally through honest work on themselves and their process, they crossed a line. And on the other side of that line, the market looked different, not easier, clearer, because they were different. That crossing is available to you, but it requires one thing above all else: time and patience with the process. Not patience with the market, patience with your own development. Patience with the version of you that still flinches at losses. Patience with the work of rewiring decades of psychological conditioning. Give yourself that grace. Give yourself that time. Because here is the truth I want to leave you with. The market is not your enemy. Your unchecked psychology is. And psychology, unlike the market, is something you can change. The one rewiring, it's this. Stop trading for money and start trading for mastery of process. Let the money be the reward of the person you're becoming, not the reason you're gambling like the person you used to be. You are not here by accident. You watched this far because something in this video recognized something in you. That recognition is worth something. Don't waste it. If this video made you see yourself in a new way, if something here stopped you, made you think, made you uncomfortable in the right kind of way, then I want you to do something right now. Subscribe to this channel. Not because I asked, because you made a decision today to take your trading psychology seriously, and subscribing is the first vote you're casting for the trader you're choosing to become. Every week on this channel, we go deeper into the mindset, the identity, the behavioral patterns that separate the traders who survive from the ones who don't. This is not a tips and tricks channel. This is a transformation channel. And if you are serious about transformation, if you're done with the cycle, done with the shortcuts, done with buying strategies you don't trust and executing plans you don't follow, then you belong here. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and show up every week.